Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now I know it's been ages since I did a video as per usual, and I thought we would do a little road trip video. I have gone and bought another car, and I know you're wondering what's happened to the GT6 and the Crafter. Well, bad news, the Crafter's gone. The good news is I've bought a new camper. The GT6 is going to be starting back on this winter time, but I thought I would drive to the Dordogne on the southwest of France to do a little road trip in our new camper. The Crafter was great, but for me it was a bit too modern, it was a bit too reliable. Although I did spend £6 fixing the engine, that wasn't something that we ever talked about. It ended up sitting in a garage in Wales for absolutely ages. And to be honest with you, I just fell out of love with it. It was a car that I didn't want to invest any more time or money in, and I knew if it sat on the drive, we were just going to lose it. It was just going to rust. So we got shifted to a lovely couple down south, and as soon as that money hit my bank account, I wondered what I could invest in. I like my classics. I've obviously got the Land Rovers as well, but we went and bought another classic. We got a VW Splitscreen. Meet Florence, our 1966 VW Splitscreen. Now I'll confess, this is a little bit smaller than the Crafter and a little bit more basic. I didn't buy this here. It is a left hooker, so it's a left-hand drive that we purchased straight off eBay. I'll be honest, I made all the wrong decisions, saw it online, it was a great price, but I did not see this van in person. I simply went by the description, I trusted the owner, and this is something you absolutely shouldn't do when you are buying a van. However, I got super lucky. This van was imported into the UK in 2008, and since then it has been meticulously looked after up until its present owner that was just before us. It spent some of its life in the UK with a company called VW Splitscreen, and it went by the name of McLovin back then, so you can have a little Google of that. But we have renamed her Florence the Machine, and she has been absolutely fantastic on the drive down. Now I'll tell you one thing, I'm incredibly impressed that I'm actually able to string a sentence together, because we drove to France to go to a wedding at a chateau about 3 miles away from here, and we've had an incredibly late night. But I thought it would be fun to take you on the drive all the way back to Scotland, whatever direction that's in, and I'll tell you a little bit more about our new camper. Right, Dordogne to Dunoon. 27 hours. Will it start first time? Of course it will. Let's get going. So why did I get a split screen? Well, I absolutely love my carbon gear, and I don't know, I kind of looked at a few different camper vans, and it basically came down to a really nice bay window or this split screen. And do you know, the thing with the bay window was it was so much more my style. It was like air ride on the front, it was a lovely colour, it was just how I would have had a bay window. But if I'd bought a bay window having the option to get a really nice split screen, I knew I would have always regretted not going for the split screen. For me, it's one of those absolute top trump cars, you know, like I've had it, and it is exactly what you expect it to be like. You know, this has had some great upgrades, so the steering's been upgraded, it's got disc brakes on the front, it's been very well looked after, it's got an MOT on it, but it still drives like an old 1960s VW. So we've been driving for about 6 hours, I think, today, and campervan's doing good. Maybe tomorrow morning, if it's not raining, I'll show you the camper setup. Well, good morning. I've got absolutely no idea where we are, but it is a beautiful little spot down here by Well, there's a little stream over there and the village is up there. I thought I'd show you some of the interior on the van and how we've been sleeping for the last week and a half. Can you hear that little noise actually? So that is our night heater. We've got a petrol heater here in the front. And all I'm actually doing is I've got a 2-litre bottle of water in front of it. And that just means when I get up and I want to have a bit of a shower, after about 15 minutes, that's warm enough to get the shampoo out and just have a quick cheeky shower on the side of the park. So we've got the double bed. This is a rock and roll bed that turns into a chair for the day. We've had these brand new cushion made. You'll see those in a bit. We've got a blind on the back window that goes up and down, gives us a bit of privacy. We've got 2 of these insulation blinds that we use on the back windows, and then on the front I've just put up a proper old school like curtain rail, so that's up there, and that just means we can just hang a blanket across the front. That's all we need. Before this had a 3/4 width bed and it really didn't work. It worked for one person and it had a whole load of units up the side here, but as we were traveling as a couple, me and Bar needed something a bit wider. That's been fantastic. On this side, we've got our unit. This came straight out of IKEA, and all I've done is just chop the legs off of it, and it's made of metal. It's got a nice wood top on it, and in there we've got like our cooking gear. I've got a couple of drawers full of clothes, and then Bar's got a bag full of clothes, and then over there we've got a few more coats. One thing about small spaces, you really learn to kind of utilize every bit you can. So we've got our camera bags and a few other equipment on a strap on the front. I've put a couple of those catch points here so we can strap other things in if we need. And we've also got that great netting just there. That works really well. That was my suit for the wedding, so that's got its own little place. Strapped up on the side over there. But all in all, it is a very cool little interior. So in the mornings, like today, we're just about to get the coffee on. You've got a little table here that we can bang out. You've got this on the other side. So this is just a little, I don't know, I found it in storage. It's just a little woven basket. Happy days. So that's got our coffee in it and our kettle. And then down here, in one of the baskets, we've got more of our cooking stuff and our stove and gas. If you're thinking about getting one of these vans, there is a little bit of feralness needed, I think, when you live in a space so small, especially if you're thinking about getting away for more than a couple of days. Like, this doesn't have a lot of facilities, but we've done fantastically. We've got a lot squeezed into a tiny space. Let's get going. Coolio died. Oh shit. So we've been going for about 2 hours so far, and I kind of got to thinking, what kind of driving mecca could we go through? And obviously, Le Mans was on the way. That is the original Triumph Spitfire Le Mans, which was the fastback, which was kind of where the GT6 came from. Le Mans was kind of set up in the early 19th century, and the whole point of it was to develop the motor car. The point of the track and the events was to see how far they could push motoring. And when you come here and you look around the museum, you can see so many things that are now incorporated in everyday cars, which were almost certainly tested here for the first time. So we've been on the road for about another hour, left Le Mans, and we're on our way to Paris to stay with a friend of ours. Well, welcome to Paris. Not quite where I was expecting to be tonight, but unfortunately, the bus broke down, and we were just driving along the street, and suddenly there was just like a loss of power, some misfiring. Stopped at the lights, didn't know what was going on, managed to pull over outside Hutchinson, a factory or a school or whatever it is. Spent about half an hour going over the car, checked electrics and a few other things, and it is absolutely kaput. Took out a couple of the spark plugs, and one side of the engine's cool on cylinders 2 and 4, but 1 and 3 were like super hot. Could have started it again and kind of limped along, but I'm just loath to do anything to it when it's been so good for so long. We've got full European breakdown cover. I made sure that the van could be repatriated if it can't be fixed here, and we've also got onward travel, so we'll, worst case scenario, have to get a car, like a hire car, to Calais tomorrow, and then another car from Dover to Scotland. It's all part of the adventure, right? Anyway, I'm going to wait for recovery, and I'll catch you in the morning. So guess what? We didn't make it. We didn't get all the way back to Scotland in the split screen. Would I count this as a failure? Absolutely not. The van performed absolutely phenomenally for almost 3,500 miles. That's 1,000 miles that I did before setting off for France in probably about 3 weeks, and then the 2 weeks of the trip itself. In all honesty, I may have been slightly happy to get in a hire car and hit cruise control for the 14 hours it took us to drive home. Would I do it again? Absolutely. If you've got any ideas for trips and adventures that we should do in some of these vehicles, drop us a line in the comments, and I will see you next time.